How's it going, American History 2 students? This is Mr. Bell coming back at you with some more enrichment education. This is things that I may have missed throughout the year. I will not cover all these in depth. Some I may skip by, but just some important things that American History 2 may have covered that were accidentally left out of the PowerPoint or cut for time's sake. Douglas MacArthur, I shall return. So MacArthur, his remarks are toward the Philippines at this time. If you remember, the Philippines were taken by the United States thanks to the Second Treaty of Paris after the Mexican-American War, after the Spanish-American War. And Douglas MacArthur promises once they're captured by the Japanese that he will return and get those islands back. And he does on October 20th, 1944, when he led American forces in the Philippines in World War II. So, I shall return refers to that. Remember, MacArthur was the overall commander for the Allied forces in the Pacific. Phillip Randolph was a socialist labor leader who was the first to march on Washington before Martin Luther King, the first major African-American leader to march on Washington, I should say. He pressured FDR to pass Executive Order 8802, which banned racism in the defense industry, and Truman to pass Executive Order 9981, which said that the military should be desegregated thanks to the bravery of the Tuskegee Airmen. The Peace Corps was created by JFK, where young people could go after college or high school, or usually in their 20s or early 30s. It's all volunteer basis, and they would be given things like money towards school, where they could go and help in less fortunate countries. Flexible response was the notion that JFK didn't believe in MAD, which is mutual assured destruction. Russia would nuke us, we would nuke them, it'd be the end of the world. He thought there were other ways to deal with this through negotiation. He was right, as we saw with the Cuban Missile Crisis. Neil Armstrong's the first man to land on the moon, along with Buzz Aldrin. JFK says we'll send a man to the moon in 1963, and July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 does that with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. The Warren Commission was put together by President Johnson, and it was named after Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Earl Warren. It was a 20-year investigation of the Kennedy assassination that eventually determined that it was Lee Harvey Oswald, putting many conspiracy theorists to rest. Sputnik launched into space and started the space race, and it created the Defense of Education Act. Eisenhower spent more money in schools on math and science when he thought that we were lagging behind countries like Russia and China when it came to these subjects. Not worried about the Sherman Silver Purchase Act. Warren Court, this is several very influential decisions by Chief Justice Earl Warren, a one-time conservative turned very liberal Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Miranda versus Arizona. Miranda writes, Gideon versus Wainwright. If you can't afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you. Engel versus Vital. Banned school prayer. Of course, Brown versus Board of Education. Ended segregation. The Fair Deal was a continuation of the New Deal, but it never really got passed by Truman. It was a more even liberal, borderline socialist version of the New Deal, but Republicans blocked it in Congress. Alliance for Progress, this was created by JFK, teaming with other Latin American countries in order to reach out to the Hispanic and Latino community. The governor of Puerto Rico, which is part of the United States, Luis Munoz, is the one who advised Kennedy, and it was the beginning of Democrats having a large voter bloc in the Hispanic community. Speech, Nick. Now, when I say Latin American, maybe I should rephrase that because Puerto Rico was part of the United States. The Chequers speech, we covered this when we talked about Nixon. We talked about Henry Kissinger. He helped Nixon come up with detente, the accepting of communism in Europe. The OPEC oil crisis we talked about when we mentioned Carter. The Helsinki Accords, not worth talking about. Let's talk about whip inflation now. Ford was not a great president, definitely not the brightest president, but he told Americans if they spent wisely and saved their money, it would stimulate the economy. That was wrong. Saving money will not help the economy. It needs money infused into it. So the WIN program was not a winner. Title IX required colleges to spend money as much on women athletics as they do men. Now, of course, you may think, what about University of Alabama football? Of course, they get more than University of Alabama softball. That is because of boosters. We talked about the Contra scandal. Human Genome Project. You probably talked about this in biology. That was Watson and Crick mapping the human genome, completed in 2003. It started in 1984. Biotechnology is use of living organism to make a product. The biggest example of this is antibiotics that plants are used to produce. The Ruby Ridge Massacre is an infamous event that happens out west, in Idaho, at the tail end, the summer before Bush 41 finishes his presidency, and a warrant is issued, for Randy Weaver's arrest. And here's what happens at Ruby Ridge. There is a family who has been investigated by the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Bureau, ATF. They have a lot of illegal fully automatic weapons. U.S. Marshals and ATF go in to remove these weapons. A firefight breaks out that eventually leads to one of the family members, the daughter specifically, getting caught in the crossfire. It was a big push for gun control when Bill Clinton would become president to prevent future massacres like Ruby Ridge. Waco. The Branch Davidians were an extreme, almost cult-like group that had a compound that was a former school in Waco, Texas. Bill Clinton wanted them out when he became president because ATF had discovered, along with the FBI, that they had tons and tons of fully automatic weapons. They refused to give up their weapons. They refused to give up the compound. Clinton ordered a full-scale attack on Waco, which he put his Attorney General, Janet Reno, in charge of. And when things went bad and many people died, let me fix my tobacco there, spelling. When things went bad and many people died, Janet Reno got the blame. Bill Clinton said he didn't have much to do with it, when of course he did. Don't ask, don't tell. Clinton allows gays to serve in the military as long as they do so in the closet. Obama allows them to serve openly. The NSA, National Security Agency, collects. It's where the data is taken into account that is collected by things like the Patriot Act. It was around since 1952, but became very active after 9/11. The new axis of evil, if you remember, Germany, Italy, Japan were the axis of evil in World War II. The Bush Doctrine identifies a new axis of evil of Iraq, Iran, and North Korea. Bush, of course, would famously go to war with Iraq in 2003. Two of my favorite history quotes: "There's nothing you can do there's nothing you cannot accomplish as long as you're willing to give credit to others." I give credit to all of you for working so hard during this crazy semester. And of course, Lincoln's second inaugural address, "With malice toward none and charity toward all," which is what I have toward all of you. Hope you have a great summer. Good luck. Peace out. Thank you.